Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Oracles of Theleston, episode 18, The Making of a Thelestonan 5. Now, we've actually made Harold and started playing him in the last session, so um, we're actually starting to kind of do a little just throwing together campaign. Again, this is just kind of demonstrating gameplay a little bit and kind of showing the entire process of character creation to actually kind of playing with them just in a series of videos. Speaking of, the pen and paper sessions are going, and those have been getting kind of interesting and rather funny shenanigans occurred in the last session. So I guess let's talk about that a little bit first.
Yeah, I want to hear what you think the shenanigans were.
Well, burning down the stables and
Oh,
the
okay.
common house in Twixt, that's kind of shenanigans.
Verde
Okay.
throwing me under the bus.
Yeah, yeah, Verde throwing you under the bus. There was, there. Let's see, that group of guys that were investigating, who picked a fight and didn't realize there was a greatsword involved. You don't bring a long dagger to a greatsword fight.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So you want to start with the story. I was wondering if you thought there were mechanical
Oh no,
um,
actually, it went pretty
shenanigans,
well
but
mechanically. I didn't really
yeah.
see any. I was sitting there like, all right, there's skill checks that need to be made, and if they don't get happen, I'm totally gonna be like, oh guys, you should have done a skill check there. But I didn't really feel like piping in and be like, oh guys, skill check. So it was pretty good. They handled everything pretty well mechanically. Actually, seeing the combat system in action was kind of neat, to be honest.
Yeah, I do have slight worries maybe with the way the combat system is designed and with the way stances are ideally meant to work. I have some concerns with how it'll start to play out when you really start adding multiple people engaged in combat at once. But we'll get there. We'll find out how that actually works. And I think my concern is that it may become uh, too maybe kind of constantly reactionary, because of the way the stance cards work. But it's a half-formed concern to begin with, and I think honestly we'll just see how it actually plays out, and that'll answer that.
Yeah.
The rest is just little refinements to the app that'll get made, and the way it displays information. But honestly, so far it's going pretty well for a very early test run of a game.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
will be interested to see what happens once we get the stance cards, and also Absolver is a martial arts game that I'm following right now. It's in pre-alpha, so we haven't actually seen. We've only seen demos of it, but it's got stances in it, and you kind of build your deck, and I'm hoping that'll get me more acclimated to um, what I want to say. Predicting is coming to mind, but my strategy, developing strategy
yeah.
around stances. But yeah, that should be interesting. I don't think we delved too deeply into that last time in the playtest, so we'll just see how that
Yeah.
evolves.
And it's one of those things that I'm kind of excited about for not just the stances that they provide, but as people create characters that are interesting, unique in their own ways. They were a pit fighter in some bandit camp that eventually got broken up because it got really big and was causing a lot of problems or whatever. And so somebody with that fighting style would be very unique. It wouldn't be something you'd see very commonly everywhere else. So they might have different abilities to attack and react, anticipate, counter, pit fighter, mixed unit tactics or whatever for like a 3v3 match or something. Big bets going down on something like that. So yeah, that would be a character where you create the character, you create the stances, you check it in with Omba, and if it counts with him, or Omba and Snipe, I would say, if it checks in with them, um, then you're probably in good shape to be able to actually use them with your character, which is totally awesome. It might not be entered in as part of canon lore and gameplay and stuff. If done in other campaigns, but obviously if it's something that they're curating, they would definitely, if they like it and it's going in, then it could very well show up again somewhere in like a source book. So
Totally.
yeah, that's pretty cool. I've actually got a character I need to finish up the stances for. They kind of have a completely different style to what you would normally see. So should be interesting to see if it can get approved and how it plays out.
I was really interested in the combat part because I'd
Yeah.
never seen anything like that before.
Well, it'll
And,
especially be kind of interesting, I
gameplay
suppose.
slowed way down, of course, at that point, and I had a
Yeah.
whole new appreciation for how automated all those roles are
Yes.
when you're in an MMO or some other kind of game where things like that are automated.
Mhm.
That was really interesting in terms of learning something new and extrapolating on it.
Absolutely. And it's a funny thing. I mention every now and then. Back in the '80s, there were definitely games that wanted to emulate D&D as heavily as possible. Like the early Might and Magic series, that's all what they were about.
Oh, yeah.
And so they would even express everything in die roll format. So it was absolutely hilarious to see a video game that could just express things as 2 to 5 to instead give you 1d4 plus 1. But and also they use THAC0. That's to hit armor class 0. Now, not to get into too much of a weird topic here, Paul, but this is what D&D used to do. A human's default armor class was 10. You don't go up from there, you go down from there. You want to be, as low as possible, even past 0, because people are trying to hit armor class 0 is what the target is. So if someone only needs to roll a 10 to hit you, you're in
I
big
think
trouble.
there's
I don't even remember the exact math. It was just a ridiculous thing, but
I think there's a special kindred ship for anyone who has survived campaigns of THAC0.
yeah,
I kind of miss it.
and the Might and Magic and some other games were actually using that as their armor system. And that was the part where it's like, come on, guys!
It's very counterintuitive. I don't know. That's something I would ever want to see return. But
no. So
and it is interesting because Paul is coming to all this new. So this is your first combat experience in a PnP, right?
Paul.
Paul.
Oh no, we lost.
So Paul's got a new machine, I believe, and
Yeah.
Skype is not doing the best, and I think Discord might have crapped out on her too here.
Nope, no, I hear you,
nope.
but
Okay.
I can't hear Diggs and Zero, so
Oh, gotcha.
I'm
Okay.
having to kind of switch back and forth between the show and what you're saying in order to catch the rest of what everybody's saying.
Okay, well,
If there's
we can probably-
something directly for me, you'll have to repeat it, Neuro.
Oh, okay.
Or I can type it out, I suppose. But
Yeah, it was just this was your first exposure to pen and paper gameplay, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and this last time was the very first time with combat of any
Yeah.
kind.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah,
It's definitely engaging. I can see how, because gameplay is slower, man, you get really invested in your character. I mean, between play sessions, you have time to build your character, flesh things out, think about, well, what would they do under this circumstance, and what's the goal here, and and stuff like that. Where if you're just playing a role-playing game or an RPG or an MMO or something, it's all about fast action, and you just do stuff and then you move on. And so this is really illuminating. There are a lot of little light bulbs going off and stuff like that about how does this work and why was it so popular and why is it continue to be popular, and then how you come to understand that die rolls are behind every damn thing that happens in a game.
Yeah. And it's one of the funny things I always think about is for role playing, for engaging it in this way, it's, I would say, a lot more thought provoking than playing most video games that are meant to be a role playing game. Not that
Yeah.
they can't have good themes and narratives to them, but with this, you have so much more investment, so much more control, and it's really up to the GM to kind of keep everything going in the right place and offer you the opportunities to try to do the things you would do with your character in any given situation. And with that, yeah, you end up getting a lot of like nerds of all varieties, literary nerds, math nerds, and strategy nerds. And then you've got like the metalhead nerds that are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna roll the most badass Viking in black leather, and he slays dragons and drinks their blood. It's like, fuck yeah, dude. That's all about the D&D scene right there. And of course, something for this, because it's more of the Lovecraftian horror. Again, the berserker badass, but would be trying to be okay with riding a little bit of madness along with everything else.
Yeah, Omwa just posted in
Yep.
chat. I had no idea that players had agency.
Oh yeah,
And
It's
I'm
a
really
big
dumb.
deal.
Obviously very naive about the whole thing. But I thought we would be playing like we were directed in a play.
Nope.
So
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you could choose stuff. You could, no, I'm not going to do that, or yes, I'm going to do that, or hey, I'm tossing this thing over here.
Some of the best things
Yeah, I had
about
no idea.
PNPs is that, or maybe something that I should say that is the best indicator of PNPs being such a cool system, is that there is 100,000 game masters, dungeon masters out there who have had their carefully laid plans completely thrown to the wayside by parties just doing things completely unexpected, and that exists, and that's what video games have had such a struggle trying to get to, is how do you make a game react to that? Because in a PnP, a player can totally throw the story to the wayside that they've been crafting, because they can, like, well, that rock over there just looked really interesting, and I'm going to fixate on it for whatever reason, and there suddenly has to be spawned a story for this. Whereas in a game, of course, video game, you go to the rock, it's a rock. Congratulations, get back on your scripted quest.
Yeah, and that's one of the nice things, is if your character appears to find something, the GM can make it something of note and worth and value in the story. Any bit of clues or anything that can come from it, or it could just be, yeah, you found a rock. It is a magnificently round rock. It's it looks perfectly the same color and texture the entire way around. It doesn't look like it has any staining from minerals or anything. But otherwise, it is a non-notable rock. Would be great for a sling if you have one. That's about the best it could be, if it's just a mundane rock that you happen to pick up and observe. That has really no bearing on the story. And, that's a fun thing that GMs can do to mess with people, even make you think it's mundane. You still pick it up, and then later, oh no, it actually is significant.
And real quick,
Yeah,
Paul, can
don't
you
we
hear me
have
now?
something like that?
I can.
Something like that happened
Okay.
during the playthrough. What was it?
Um,
Or was it the first playthrough with the
well, no,
somebody
the
picked up?
playthrough for
It was
instance,
Zero. Zero picked up something, a scarf.
I picked up a
something with
scarf
the
that
tank.
actually would have imparted some tags on me. But if nothing else, it's a nice handkerchief or built.
What was it, Zero?
Oops.
Oops.
Sorry, at the very least, it was just a really nice handkerchief of
Yeah, that's what it was.
exceptional quality. Worst case scenario, I'm completely doomed by this. We'll figure that out. The other aspect I think that went off the rails is I don't think, Riss, Lake's character, was not expected to go fisticuffs and then greatsword, with the team of people that came looking for Verde's character. That apparently was not expected. Which, again, having known and played with her for a long time, I didn't see that going any other way. So,
Pretty much. All right. So, yeah. So that fight went. I figured that guy was going to eat some great sword, and that was going to end him. But no, it was in the announcement of the fire and dude trying to retreat that he just got like full on like liver shanked, like that was, and that's the thing that I think about with the damage system is like whatever the maximum damage that dagger could have done. It definitely seems like it inflicted a grievous wound from the description of it. So did it do the maximum damage that it can do on paper? Did it do double because of how amazing it was? We don't know if the guy died or is alive. We don't even know. It's really hard to tell what the guy's actual stat range and stuff is, if he's in the 25 health range or the 45 health range. And that's actually that is the one mechanic actually that I've still been very much questioning, and I think I'd like to see a little adjustment instead of the big gaps, the big intervals in health. I think something where every attribute point would contribute to increased health makes a little bit more sense. For the most part, if your character is anything younger than 30, you're pretty much in the 25 health range, which means that stab with the dagger very well may have just killed you. That's pretty brutal.
At the very least, this guy is not happy if he survived,
Yeah.
or even if he didn't. I suppose he's not happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, Snipe's role was incredible.
Yeah. So that's the thing that I feel like maybe if there's a little bit more, the intervals are a little bit more finite and what's the word? Interpolation. That's what I'm looking for there. That would maybe give a little bit better, I guess, not necessarily even survivability, just relationship between where you're at stats-wise and where you're at health-wise. Because I know it's been talked about that, I think it was that they were initially going to do something like that, but instead decided to have, like, ranges of health, and you pretty much just get whatever the highest amount of health for that range would be. Something like that. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I'm thinking of a different game. But it's if that's how it's actually set up, if that was the logic, that makes sense. If you're looking at like where somebody's at, give them the most the most health they would have for that range. But then what that unfortunately means is once you cross the threshold from the 25 range to the 45 range, you immediately become like, almost twice as badass in a fight, which it seems like a huge leap there. And maybe 25 for the start, and then it slowly increments up to what ends at 45 would maybe feel a little bit more balanced. It would potentially mean that any rebalancing of damage would be able to anticipate for that a little bit better.
Well, and we kind of talked about that a bit with the Fireside, but I had kind of similar questions about that. I think part of it was we didn't necessarily know what the the guy was basically unarmored and it was taken by surprise, so it was kind of this is a surprise attack that was very successful against a target who essentially had no armor. So the damage was a big spike that may not have occurred in any other circumstances.
That's true.
Well, unless you're a rogue and you are used to that's your normal mode of attack. Sneak attack
In which case, at least you're earning it. But yeah, no, I think it was interesting though, and I'm excited to see how combat with the card system evolves, like Nick was saying, as into larger scale conflict, because I think that really will make combat more interesting. Um, what I'm happy to see is that there's really been no lack of opportunity to make use of your core stats, your perception, your
Yeah.
or some of the more common skills like awareness. Um, some things that we haven't had to use a whole lot of, like cooking or wilderness survival tracking, things like that.
Those are coming.
Those will end up coming, yeah, just by the nature of a campaign. Right now, we've been kind of able to follow along an established path. As soon as things venture away from that, you'll definitely see those come out. So, really, I'm pretty stoked for what's amounted to 2 real play sessions, plus the prep work, admittedly. But I mean, of actual campaign time, pretty dang good for playing through a rough draft of a game.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys should probably stay outside of towns along the way to your destination, because I just suspect that it's going to be a path of destruction. You're just going to make enemies along the way.
I already shudder for Sarah's reputation at this. See, there is considerable questioning going on in this guy's head, I suspect, and there should be questioning of a few of the characters, I think, in the party. I won't give spoilers because I think they need to figure that out, but I thought I was going to sneeze. But yeah, the motivation is something I guess I would say Sarah as a character and me as a player is definitely questioning. I understand Sarah's motivation, or at this point, questions on motivation, but other characters, I think he would definitely be wondering what exactly they're there for, because there's only a couple of them that have clear reasons to be doing any of this.
Right. I've been
Yeah.
questioning motivation all along because the group is still not known each other long enough or hung out together long enough and thoroughly enough to really be a team yet. So I expect lots of mixed agendas. Like getting thrown under the bus by Verdi. Yeah.
Unintentional as it may have been. Bastard.
So one of the things that I was wanting to do with Harold is whatever the next, as soon as we get to a morning, is have him bake something and bring it to fortune teller that he sees every morning. And I'm not sure if that fortune teller is really able to predict the future, or if that's just
She's
claim
got damn
that
good
she
bluffing
makes.
skills.
But that would get us. That would allow us to use the card reader in the DOP crew channel. But as I was thinking through.
I don't actually have the bot set up here, so unfortunately, I don't think we'd be able to do it on the show here.
That'd be pretty
Yeah,
cool.
but we could still use
I like the idea.
use
Yeah.
it and check it. But as I was thinking about the baking process and the meow, that was going to rely on the quality of the equipment and things like that. And then, so talking through today, I was thinking about how that would relate to stances and cards, and would we have cards for other skills? What so that we're using a similar kind of system. And then I was thinking if somehow, because I don't think it's set up necessarily for the PNP that quality of utensils and tools is going to help you on your skill rolls. But if they did, that would really make a difference. I could just see the pressure mounting when you're out in the field, like you're not at home at your bakery, you're on a caravan, so you couldn't bring your best equipment, or you're not going to bring your best equipment, and you get into things like, crap, this would have come out great if I just had my silver
Sure.
plated baking dish.
And I agree. I think
normally
those
don't
should
get.
come up.
Yeah.
A better knife, a better pot, the whatever it may be. I mean, I think tools of the trade really do matter. Otherwise, if that matters now, it certainly mattered when you made your living by your tools. So I think
Yeah.
that should definitely be in
Yeah,
place.
like you use a copper pot to whip your eggs because the copper causes it to stay nice and stiff and firm peaks and everything. So it's if that's what you do, you got a copper pot that you use to mix your eggs in. That's what it is. So yeah, I would
Yeah. And
imagine he probably has with the amount of experience he's got with the baking things. He's probably got some of that equipment. He's probably got some of the specialized stuff, and some of the stuff where the quality doesn't quite matter as much. I would imagine he's used to the stuff that he has, so it wouldn't matter
Makes
if it
do
was
with
a
what he
higher or low
has.
quality. He knows how to use what he's got and is able to do it proficiently. So it that's where it's
Yeah, he's
at.
pretty much a master, isn't he? A master cook.
yeah, but again, that's well, even if he's
I think that we made him a
journeyman to master, yeah.
I think we
Um,
gave him 4 points in it, but is that, do we call that
Which-
a master or?
I think
Well,
4 points
pretty
put
damn
him at
close
like
without some specialty training somewhere else.
Yeah,
because
he's-
3 points was essentially you are, you know, as reasonably skilled as an amateur or average person is going to be. 4 stars or 4 point, yeah, stars we'll call it. I guess I would expect to be like journeyman level or something like that. He'd be a proficient line cook, he'd be a sous chef maybe. Um, but I think it would still require higher to really be a master.
Yeah, he is at a professional level.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But even if I move that over to the computer realm, people come to me at work and are like, "Can you do this with my Android phone?" And I'm like, "Ugh, I use an iPhone. I know how to do stuff on my iPhone. I don't know anything about Android."
Are you the tech guy at work?
Oh my goodness! The callers come to me all the time with all kinds of stuff. But sometimes you get to like somebody will give me something with Windows XP or Windows 7, and I'm like, I don't remember how to do anything on the Windows XP like I used to know, but I've had to use XP in forever.
Yeah,
Uh,
since it got
you know,
phased out.
Yeah,
somebody,
right.
somebody gives me Windows 95, I'd be like, I don't.
If someone gives you that, you should be authorized. To be able to like just, your question is bad and you should feel bad.
But I'm saying if I move that back over to like wow, I'm out in the field and I don't have my I'm used to having my I don't even know what that would be, but you're without.
No, I think that's fair. Yeah.
You said you were a cook. This tastes like crap.
But that's actually not a bad thought though, right? I mean, maybe the difference between the 3 point chef is I can look at a table and there are ingredients familiar to me. I can assemble a dish. The 4-star chef becomes I can improvise a dish with what I have, and the other 5-star. Yeah, he's like your awareness of exotic ingredients is up. Someone throws you a bear gallbladder, and you're like, I can make something with that instead of just standing here stupefied.
Well, but again, so that's just skill. But what I'm thinking about is equipment, because maybe you forgot that with the copper, I haven't used a copper baking dish in forever, and I forgot that with the copper dish that doesn't do the same thing as my
okay.
super dish.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing I'm thinking in terms of equipment and how equipment might factor into how we're dealing with stuff. So I don't know to what degree Ombla had planned to make that for the pen and paper. I'm just thinking that could be really interesting if we have stuff because personally I try to avoid combat when I'm playing PnP. Well, any MMO. I'm the character that isn't doing combat, but having challenges that are challenging for non-combatants is fun too.
Yeah, no, I get you. And there's definitely games where it really is in your best interest not to get in a fight because there's a good chance whatever it is will, kill or maim you or waste a lot of your resources. That, definitely makes sense. I would say about the stances, the reason why combat uses the stances and why it's such a very specific thing is because two things. One, it's the one main core component of gameplay where you're almost guaranteed that someone's going to lose some life or lose all of their life. And because it's that critical, I understand why it would want to be slowed down and have more minutia rather than, oh, he rolled a 10 and his skill's higher than yours, therefore you're dead. That's not as fun. It definitely takes away the agency and the ability to play your character how they would actually react in that situation. Not every character is just going to sit there, square up with a two-handed weapon and just try to go for the skull shot. Everybody's going to attack differently, act differently. The reactionary switching of stances between people that are squaring off in a duel before they even attack each other, all of that sort of stuff. But then the other aspect of it is because it is a genuinely competitive thing that is more than just being something incredibly simple. If you're gambling with somebody else or whatever, you've got a gambling skill, you do your rolls, and based on the situation and what cards or whatever dice roll or whatever you've got, you do better or worse or whatever. Or something that you could be working with somebody on, like cooking or brewing, or two people working one of those giant saws to cut down a tree. That what's going to happen with that is it's simple and specific enough that the way that you stand and the pacing and the timing and what angle that you do this stuff doesn't warrant the need for cards and cards and cards for people doing something, especially because maybe in cooking you could say, yeah, there's a little bit more danger, someone could get burnt or something. That's true. Wood cutting, obviously there's bad things that can happen if you don't know what you're doing. By and large, though, the purpose of those things isn't to protect yourself from harm while trying to inflict harm. That's specific to combat. And so between the seriousness of what it means for your character and the fact that injury is almost guaranteed for somebody, plus the fact that it is something that two or more characters are engaging in, so there's a highly competitive aspect. That's why I believe there's only going to be cards for combat, and I could see maybe magic and rituals having their own stances as well, because it gets into a similar realm of the seriousness of the implications of it.
Yep.
But yeah, for something like baking, for example, I don't think there would necessarily be stances. The stance he would use is whatever would make the most sense.
Yeah, not combat stances, but still something. It's not
yeah. No, I think
stances, but and not because I don't know. It's interesting that for you the focus is on injury, and for me the focus is on success. So and that could be meaningful. And I don't know, it might be injuring your reputation if you're supposed to be this great baker, but the stuff that you're baking at the moment comes out crap because you don't have the stuff that
but
or,
your
things turned out differently than I expected.
Your reputation getting knocked for a poor product doesn't send you to anime's realm. So
Well, it doesn't need to. I mean, the consequences don't need to be that dire just to inject that level of, I guess, chance or immersion into it. I mean, you don't have to risk dying because you think, but you could still. I mean, like for instance, Sero as a character is a good example. He doesn't have to. He could have a negotiation fail. That doesn't mean he dies, but it could certainly hurt his reputation, and therefore he goes to the next. Time he's trying to sell someone I heard from guy I take pretty seriously that you screwed him on this day. And maybe it's because I didn't wear the right outfit.
Yeah.
You know, my cultural etiquette wasn't high enough, and I offended by not bringing a gift, or by bringing a gift, or not refuse. You know, I mean, there's point, whatever it is. The point being just that there can be consequences that aren't always life threatening, that can still be very significant, and that's important in a game where we don't want everyone to have to be a combatant.
And
You
the
know-
same with combat. It's not always about pulling a knife or pulling a greatsword. It could be, physical. It's more likely to, in my experience, because of the times that we
Polk in
live
here
in,
now.
it's more likely that I, punch somebody in the face than, stab them.
Gotcha.
But, I don't know. Back in the day, kids got killed for not using the right formality with adults. So,
I need to see Diggs
Who
do a
knows?
playtest just to see him start throat punching people.
yeah.
So you
It's
did
not
bring up
lethal, I swear.
you started saying something there that I thought was absolutely hilarious. The idea of a culture where the host offers a gift to the guest, and the guest is supposed to refuse the gift because if they accept it, it's some
It's actually it's not even unreasonable. Chinese culture has this. Korean culture has this. Actually, there's a lot of cultures where there's a offering of a gift, but you are expected to decline it a set number of times. Oh, here's this
Right.
gift for you. No, I can't accept that. No, I insist. No, I can't accept it, but I insist. All right, since you
Okay.
insist, so
Right.
and so
But they
that's just.
accepted on the third.
But if I accepted it the second time or even the first time, it's like, oh, I'm so glad you took this, you greedy bastard. And of course, then if you continue to decline, then you're being insulted, and and that's just kind of an off the cuff thing. And so that kind of culturization does exist, but it's those kind of things that I think can help. That's why those things would matter to a character like Sero, is that he has to be aware of not just cultural or not just straight negotiation abilities, but how am I not going to offend this, Gravi, person who, especially maybe one who is really in tune with his true culture, and how am I going to not offend him, or how am I going to, show the proper respect to him, but also to this person that I'm trying to sell on the other side of thing, who's got a completely different set of, perspective. Maybe he's completely dismissive of that culture. So but I mean, it's just, just random examples of the severity of things that don't always necessarily
Right.
have to be just because life or death. Because in reality, in a bad enough business situation, death might be an okay solution to get out of it.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess one other thing I think about with the idea of having stances for all sorts of trades and professions. I've seen this in animes before. Anybody who watches anime, I'm sure, has seen this trope at least once, where the character sets up to do something and they announce it really loud, and it's their signature move, and there's like all sorts of flashy light shows and dynamic camera angles, and they do the thing, and it's like totally awesome, except afterward the viewer kind of thinks it's like, yeah, that person just kind of put some bread in the oven, but like, wow, the presentation of it. That's kind of what I think of with
It
stances
is, right?
for
That's like going to like a Benihana or something.
yeah.
All he really did was just make me some fried rice, but holy crap, it looked amazing. And I will naturally assume that is going to be the best fried rice I've ever
Well,
had, because I'm paying a lot for this meal, and I just want to believe it.
You taste with your
It was
eyes.
flashy.
You taste with
So,
your eyes first.
yeah.
That's what they say. So
So-
yeah, I
So
believe
on
it.
So on the Herald then, right?
Yeah. So, so he's entering the South Gate guardhouse right now. So let me kind of catch up.
This is still the first night.
Yeah, it's still late afternoon. He left the shop. He visited the Toll House pub just a few doors down on Cambric Lane, and then from there he kind of got the suggestion for the thing that, well, he kind of already knew he needed to do, was go to the Southgate guardhouse so that he could get permission to go outside the gates and investigate the docks if he wanted to, or the farms, or anything that he wouldn't be able to discover while within town, within the city, within the walls. So Let me just kind of cover what Harold has done here. I kind of have a set of notes here. So he was deputized to investigate, and the his rent and sales numbers and stuff will be compensated. So he's not going to be losing out on what he would be doing business wise. There's a quarantine based on a disease that's been going on. And that quarantine basically limits anything from coming inside the gates from outside without explicit permission, or likewise to go outside from the inside without permission. This
And the
is
quarantine has lasted how long?
it's been going for about a week now. Um, so the setting right now, it's kind of midweek, towards the end of old winter. Resources are scarce. It's really not looking like the best of situations right now, and with whatever this disease is going around, people are definitely in a panic. They're trying to stay in their homes, try to stay out of the cold too, because it is pretty frigid right now. So not really a lot of people going out and doing a lot right now in town. Um, a lot of the guard was affected, but you aren't really sure exactly, how much, and who else was affected. If it's just been,
We're pretty sure at this point. We just ran into people that have quarantine masks on. So
yeah, we don't, but that doesn't like say exactly what percentage of the guard has actually been affected by it. So
Right. And didn't you
Definitely
say
would
last
definitely be
week?
unsettling though.
Right. And didn't you say last time that knowledge of the quarantine and of the problems had only encroached maybe as far as about where Harold's shop is? That the north part of town didn't may not even be aware?
they may or may not be aware. It might be worth visiting up there and trying to get a little bit more information if it's just happening in the south or if it's happening in both places. So that's some of what's going on there. And then yeah, he's been on his way to the guardhouse so he can confirm access to the outside. Now before that, like I said, he went to the Toll House pub. Um, he spoke with Jaden Denford. He didn't quite get a chance to talk to his daughter, but it's a nice place, candlelit interior. He ended up getting a pint. It was put on his tab for when business will resume and the bread is going to be needed again, or even available to have enough to buy it. Um, while there, that pint was it was observed. It was, I think, a roll of 14, so pretty good. Um, it's a good, strong, dark, spiced beer that pretty much uses the poultry seasoning, the goose seasoning, plus some extra cinnamon and nutmeg just for some additional punch. And it's around 7%. It's strong enough that it'll be able to keep, but it'll eventually start turning as it starts warming up, and the flavors start to not be as amazing. Um,
yeah, so a couple of guards had gotten sick
Yep.
while there, but
yeah,
we
so
figure it's not the beer wasn't the cause of the
that's
illness.
right. The beer itself was tasty and delicious, but definitively clean. So there were a couple of guards that were in there a few days back, and they said something about some unregistered ship that hadn't been investigated yet, but um, before they could really say too much, they finished their first pints. They usually order two, but both of them just ordered one apiece this time, and they finished it and had to be shoved out to the street so they would puke in the gutter and not inside the tavern. Um, and Saria, the daughter, she was not available to really talk to, but um, maybe have a little bit more information on the guards because she was tending the tables and stuff at the time. While there, he also spoke to one of the patrons. I don't think you actually asked his name. It's Amaran Fielder. He's a lone farmer who will sometimes come up to the shop to order a custom order of bread, just some very interesting, unique bread, once or twice a month. He's been living in the tavern for the past month to stay out of the cold of the farms and to be able to, have somewhere to actually eat and rest and interact with folks. And he's a friend of the Denford family, so they're hooking him up now. And then when the harvest start coming through, he's going to repay the favor. After this whole thing blows over, he's definitely looking to order more bread. What else was discussed there? So the
We
ship.
just schmoozed him, so we charmed him.
Yeah.
That was one of the primary
Yep.
goals. So
So yeah, the ship it had allegedly come in 8 days ago. Maybe 8 to 10 days ago. He wasn't 100% sure. But it did sound like, from what the guards were saying, it wasn't necessarily checked out. And finally, before the end of things, Jaden was telling you that he is about done with Crown's Rock and all of its problems and ills and shenanigans and other things, and he's maybe going to close the place down and move somewhere else after this. And correction, I had said in the last session that it had been a few months since Harold's last visit. No, it actually had been a few weeks. That definitely wanted to clear up on. On the way to the guardhouse, you passed by the outfitter, but it was closed on this day at this time during this part of the winter, and likely won't be opening back up again until the winter passes. Since
were we
really...
planning to go into the outfitter? I
It
don't
was
remember.
it was talked about, but because it was closed, it was just passed by.
Why were we going to go to the outfitter?
Because it was on the way down to the guardhouse.
Ah, there we go. I was about to say, I don't remember, but Paul knows.
Okay.
All right. So, then you headed to the guardhouse. Now, the guardhouse, like we were saying earlier, precautions were being taken. There were dudes with crossbows in the windows, guards about 4 meters away from the front doors, with halberds and longswords on their hip. That were they were wearing plague masks that didn't look like they fit the most perfectly, but it was enough to be able to cover their face and everything. And they were suspicious, as they're supposed to be. Gave a little bit of information, but then kind of stopped giving details and just kind of gave the move along citizen lines before getting the paperwork that confirms that Harold should actually be going in there. So that's kind of where we're at. So he's coming in the front doors. It's pretty nicely lit in there. It's reasonably warm. They've got fireplaces on either sides of the both the left wall and the right wall. Just really, really nice, really cozy sort of environment. You can see where the stairs are at that lead up to the windows on the upper floors where the archers are posted. And in there you can see it's not a whole lot of folks. There's kind of a large desk towards the back in the middle of the room, and kind of a large fella in there sitting there, plus a few other folks. Somebody greets you at the front. They've got a kind of a smaller desk and just paperwork all over it. And they stop and ask, "All right, who are you then?" Has this kind of frustrated tone to him. Like, what's the, as if this is like, just some weird day where all sorts of weird people are coming through that normally never have any business there. Nice Zero. So, yeah, you folks are playing Harold. So someone, I don't believe that's what he's
Probably
going to
not
say.
that.
Okay, I was waiting. I was like, if you want to go for it, go for it. And for those of you who are not seeing chat, it was I'm motherfucker Harold Baker table. um, we could do it if you want to try it. Um,
Harold seems like a more reasonable guy than I am.
who knows?
I flip a table every once in a while.
Yeah, I don't
I get
see
jobs.
my baked goods here. Why aren't you coming by and getting my baked goods?
Is that Mary's Muffins? Did you go to Mary's Muffins?
Stop buying my motherfucking baked goods. Shit. I'm Harold Baker. I noticed y'all not eating any baked goods. You haven't been coming by as much lately. Why not?
Oh, yeah, you're the guy that, yeah, I think I know your bread. I don't really eat much bread, but, yeah, I think yours is that stuff that comes along when the rations or the commissary runs out, isn't it? Yeah, no, that's some good bread. But what are you doing here? Like, you got past the guards. Obviously, they're pretty thorough. You're not full of halberd wounds and crossbow bolts, so clearly you have a reason. What are you here for?
We've been noticing people get sick. We noticed people get sick at the tavern up a few streets up, and a couple of your guards got sick. We're investigating to see if they're okay. It seems like more guards than just those two have been sick recently. What can you tell me about that?
It's great that you're investigating all of this and that you weren't executed summarily on attempting to enter. But you gotta show me. Do you have what's that piece of paper in your hand?
Yeah,
Let's
we've
start
been
with that.
deputized.
All
We've
right.
been deputized.
All right. So just let me see that, and I'll check it with the records here. I got a whole lot of stuff to look through.
What's the roll, Neuro?
Well,
You're not
what
going
do
to
you-
roll on his papers?
Well, I mean,
Well, there's-
The papers are legit.
they're official
I
papers,
know, but I was looking at a roll right there for how much shit they're going to give him.
he hasn't been handed the papers yet. Are you gonna make him wait, or are you just gonna hand it to him?
No, why would we make them wait?
Right.
All
I mean,
right.
we want to get on with it.
So you
Papers?
give
What
him,
papers?
yeah, you give
These are
him
not
the
the papers you're looking for.
you give him the papers. He looks at it. He looks at a couple of specific spots on it. Holds it up to a nearby lantern. Kind of looks through it in a couple of spots. Kind of looking for. Let's see. I guess this will be a roll for Harold here. Let's see.
What are we rolling for?
Let's prop this up. This is going to be a roll for perception. And the result is a 5. So he's got. Let me bring up the.
Vertigo. Okay.
I can see through time.
Alright, let's see. Do I have the character page? Nope, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Okay, let me just bring it up here real fast. There we go. There we go. And we'll see. Position, size, fit to screen. There we go. Alright, and what we were looking for here is his perception. Or his Did we give him not negotiation?
He's a 5+1 perception. That's part of the reason he was deputized.
Yeah, no, he's got the plus ones are just what the age modifier is on it.
Okay.
I guess I should have like base value separated out from that or something. So he's got a 5. I would say investigation would help him out with this. So he would have an 8 plus a 5, a 13. So Harold knows exactly what's going on here. He sees that there's some specific like marks and seals and watermarks and like a couple of things that look like little ink spots on the page were actually like a system to know that this is actually the genuine, legitimate article and not like somebody's accidental, pen drips. So, this is very, very serious. And, he looks it over, says, all right, well, it definitely looks correct. So, you're probably going to want to talk to the current head of the guards here. I have his name here.
So what else is in the room?
So there's lanterns
Like what does he have around his desk? Does he have beer?
he
Does
said
he
he
have
had a lot
water?
of-
Does he?
He doesn't have any foodstuffs around the desk. He has a fairly bright lantern nearby. You can see he's got a sword and a shield, like ready to grab, pretty much beside him. Not the biggest of fellas, but looks like he could hold his own in a fight if he needed to. And
his desk was pretty cluttered, right?
Yeah,
Is there anything that stands out really obviously to us? I mean, with what limited knowledge we have, crests, seals on documents, things like that.
That's a good question. Ooh. I rolled a 10. So with 18,
Right.
yeah, you can see this has been a ridiculous day for this poor guy. There have been multiple people, deputized or otherwise, who are now able to access the guardhouse. Some people that one of them he's got like some like these little red stones kind of on the corners of it, as if to indicate that there's something like fishy or shady or weird to him about it. Upside down, you can make out the name Jinda, and that it's a female, but you can't really tell anything else from that without like really leaning close and being obvious. You see that there's also somebody whose name is signed with the doctor abbreviation to indicate some sort of medical professional has been granted access as well. Now Harold's getting access, and there's one more that the name is covered. You can't really see much about it, but there's one more of these documents in the stack. Somebody else that has been kind of apparently granted access today, or maybe in the past couple of days, in response to this issue that's going on.
And does there seem to be some kind of
And he's got
container that he might be puking into, or no?
Nope. No, he looks just fine, totally healthy. Little frustrated, maybe a little tired, but otherwise pretty healthy.
Okay.
Understandable, I suppose.
Yep. There's
Okay, so
there's also
what
a
we get out of this is that this is a pretty the situation has a lot of gravity to it.
yeah.
There's something serious. There's incredible amount of fact checking going on with the papers. I mean, that's just way over the top of ridiculousness in terms of paper checking.
Yeah, this is
So, I mean, doesn't that
seriousness.
raise some kind of, like, I don't know, hackles? Suspicions, paranoia?
Clearly it does, since that's what you're feeling. So yes.
I mean, what the hell?
Yeah, it's definitely, something very suspicious going on here, and it seems to be.
So what are you thinking that might be, Paul?
Well, I don't know, but I think I'd be asking a little bit more direct questions. Like,
Go for
what the
it.
hell is going on here?
Yeah,
Go for it.
What is
Harold,
going on?
you are Harold's mouth right now. What is it?
Well, what the hell is going on here? You know,
Well-
I see plague doctors, people in plague doctor masks wandering around outside. I
He
see
quickly
papers.
starts covering over all the different papers,
What
like
is
putting his hands
going
and
on?
stuff over
Well,
it.
he didn't say that. He just said play doctor.
plague
Masks.
doctor, whatever you call those.
Yeah.
They're
Yep,
wearing
yep.
those masks outside,
Mhm.
and you are exploring the paperwork with a gravity I don't know that I've ever seen in my life. And so something serious is happening here, and I have been asked, deputized even, to investigate what the hell is going on. And I want some answers.
as he started
now.
saying that, he covers over all of the papers and just casts a sharp glance up at you. And after you're finished, he says, "You know what? Why don't you go talk to Yuri over there? He'll give you whatever answers you want. I got a lot of paperwork to sort out here." So he points over to the desk over in the center towards the back of the room. And upon seeing him pointing over that way, Yuri comes. He stands up and starts eyeballing you a little bit.
Let's thank this guy. What's his name?
Are you gonna ask him
Did we
his name?
get his name?
You didn't get his name.
Say,
Thank you. What was your name again? You've been very helpful.
My name is Arvin. That's all you need to know.
Thank you, Arvin. Thank you.
a terrible name.
Did you just
But
roll
Harold
for that
didn't
name,
say that.
Harold?
But
No, Harold didn't say it. You guys are Harold's voice. I am merely his inner thoughts. I'm his inner monologue.
Harold's inner dialogue, yes.
Yeah.
Roof brain chatter.
This is like Harold's, what was that Pixar movie? Inside Out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Harold's Inside Out.
Clearly, zero's the id.
Yeah.
A motherfucker Harold. Well, we won't quite say that, but okay.
Hey, pointing out, a table flip might have been a great way to find out what was on all them
I
things.
know. I mean, Trolaris was really ramping up for a table flip, I tell you.
Okay, so we are now talking to...
Well,
Yuri?
you're standing in front of Arvin's desk while he's still standing there, you're sitting there covering everything, just glaring at you. Yuri is, he's still looking at you, not quite fully staring. I think he kind of recognizes who you are at this point.
Oh, I thought he was coming over, so
No,
he's not coming over.
He
We're
stood
going over
up,
to
but
him.
he's staying at the desk.
Okay,
Okay.
so he stood up as to
Because he knows
potentially
you're
to
coming
greet
over.
us to approach. Yeah, okay, so...
Yeah. So you walk over to him, and as you get closer, he grins and waves. "Hey, Harold.
Hey, Yuri.
Hey, so yeah, you probably don't know me very well, but I definitely know about you. So yeah, that bread. I know about your bread. It's good. I had it once.
Thank you.
Somebody brought it through. I said, you know what? When we're out of supplies, that's the bread I want coming in this place. It was great to finally meet you here.
What's your favorite type of bread?
Oh, that pumpernickel you make where you put the cheese over it. Oh man, that's the stuff. I don't even make a sandwich out of that. I just eat it straight.
You have good taste. You have good taste. So this is what you normally do?
Yeah, it's been a long winter. We've had to go through some changes around here. We had a captain who wasn't really covering all of the bases, as it were, and we don't really stand for that here in the Guard. So he has been revoked of his position. Still in the Guard, but he's on cleaning duty for the next foreseeable
Reassigned.
while. So while I've
And
taken charge here as the not only successor, but the one who managed to oust him for his incompetence, I've been able to make some changes around here, and I was making great progress until this whole thing happened. And I am not happy about this.
so, go ahead. What has happened?
So we're not sure what's going on. We've gotten a plague doctor who volunteered, one of our locals. We know him, but don't really, have to investigate. In fact, I'm kind of happy about the guy, because usually with something like a plague doctor, I always hear all sorts of these weird, terrible, horrible things going on. No, he keeps things clean. He does a good job. Every one of the guards that I know who has gone to him for something has had good success. So we trust him enough up to this point. He actually provided the the masks, not only the ones that the guards are using out front, but 4 sets of alternates that we have been instructed to steam heavily before reassigning to anybody else to attempt to curtail whatever contamination may be spreading around.
Okay, so back up a little bit. So what I heard that 2 guards got sick a few days ago, and that's about it. But then, as we came down to check on them, we did see guards outside with plague doctor masks on. So, how big of a deal is this, and how long has it been going on?
You've seen 2 of quite a few of our guards. Unfortunately, we've turned most of our barracks into a triage for quite a majority of them. This is information that absolutely must not be repeated outside of these walls. We are down to 1 of 10 of our guards, both
Wow.
in the north and in the south.
Wow. And it's just hitting the guards?
It's not just hitting the guards. We've also taken in some other folks, family members of the guards, and some other folks have been affected, but we're really not sure.
So does it seem to be focused on the guards and their family, or because I heard something about the docks too? So I heard a ship came in a while ago, and
Yeah, we unfortunately the dockmasters, both in the north and the south, and many of their workers have been affected by this. Or their guards. So we were unfortunately unable to really give the docks their full patrols, but from the guardhouses, from the watchtowers, we haven't seen anything. Everything just seems to be calm. There was some reports of ships, but by the time morning came around and someone went to investigate, nothing was showing, so we just kind of left it. This whole thing, I was doing so good. Everything was going great. We were going to be going through the rest of the winter, no problems. This would have been the real proving for my potential promotion to the overseer of the guards, but that's
Yeah.
probably going to have to wait.
so how many fatalities? Are people dying, or are people just staying really, really sick?
I haven't heard reports of anybody dying from this, but it is definitely a powerful and long-lasting disease that is. It appears to be very potent. It's hard to eat, hard to drink, and apparently it's even affecting memory just a little bit. We've heard reports of guards not knowing what day it was, forgetting what the last things that they had been assigned to do were, and various other things. And I'm not really sure if this is part of the disease or if something else is at play with this.
Zero had a good question.
Harold had a good question.
Yeah, Harold had a good question with that. So you said that the previous captain was pretty lax, let a lot of things slide. But how long has he been reassigned for?
6 months.
And when did the outbreak occur? When did this really start happening? People getting sick?
The first reports of it happened, I would say, about 8 or 9 days ago. We're still not 100% sure. It appears to have started in the north, though, but has
In the north of what?
in the
City.
the north of the city,
Crowns Rock.
But
At the North Docks.
and that's where the commissary is at. So I don't know. Maybe something was intentionally tampered with or spoiled or otherwise.
Just odd that, maybe that things were going so well, and as you said, you were, maybe getting towards getting the recognition you deserved, and all of a sudden outbreak happens, people getting sick, all in your presumed watch. The previous captain still working? Sick?
I have no ideas. The latrines that he's been working on are not anywhere that I ever have to see. God, I do not want to have to see his face again.
So wait, so you think that it might have been a food contamination?
I don't know what it is, but it seems like this.
But
might
you
have
mentioned
been
you mentioned the commissary.
something might have happened. I think something has happened, and this is an attack. I don't think this is just some disease that sprung up out of nowhere. Where it could have come
but
from, I don't know.
Have you changed where you're getting your food from? Have you changed in response to this outbreak? Have you changed where you're getting your food and drink from?
The supplies have been so scarce. We've just been trying to get anything we can from any traders that have come to port or otherwise. So most of it is just trying to keep up on whatever supplies. We're good on a lot of things, but I know we were running short on oil, and recently more cooking oil has come through. You might be able to access some of it at the barracks. There's part of it that isn't triage, that's still just for general use, and the kitchens there should have sufficient oil. Other than that, I don't think we've gotten any new resources or supplies to anywhere in Crowns Rock in over a month. It's really rough sailing right now, just trying to dredge through just treacherous icy waters.
Great, that's great information. Thank you. Let's pat him on the back. Thanks, Yuri. So,
Okay, yeah, that's about the best exchange we've had so far.
I think we should check out the plague doctors that are taking care, or whoever's taking care of the sick here.
I agree.
See if we can get any information from them.
Okay.
Get it from the people seeing what the doctors and what they're seeing.
Was that you three thinking, or was that something that Harold said?
That was me thinking. So.
Yeah, that.
Okay.
And we're agreeing.
All right.
So Yuri, is there someone who's taking care of the ill? Is there a way for me to talk to this person?
Yeah, the plague doctor Hagen Sojil is over in the triage center. He is definitely overseeing that and doing everything he can to try to figure out what's going on.
Should I go there, or should I have you have him come here?
No, that would probably be the best place to talk to him. We'll have one of the guards send him outside so you don't have to enter.
Okay, thank you.
The barracks are. Let me pause on that. I actually need to. Where are the barracks on the map? Let me bring that up.
They're in the next building over from the guardhouse.
Okay. So
Oh, internet poofed.
the barracks at.
For zero.
Whoops. Oh no.
Internet poofed for 0. Do we want to stop here? It's an hour and a half. If we started at 1, I don't remember exactly
Yeah.
what time.
We
Or
we could do
do another
that.
15 minutes.
We could go just a little bit longer to finish up with the guardhouse. You know, we can take it up next time. I have a few ideas for some other things that are going to happen in the guardhouse here before you head out. Then you know, some of the other things that you're going to be finding and investigating. I'm not going to say it was a bad thing or that we were wrong to sit and spend so much time analyzing the P&P session, but I know that's where a lot of the show went, and really
That's good.
I'm glad that we did, because I know they need as much feedback as they can, and likewise, you know, they come back and give us feedback on how this goes.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
it's you know, it's great to be able to kind of help each other out here in this way.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm really excited for the next one. In fact, is this one of those special months? Yeah, this is a month with 5 Sundays, so we'll have after the show in 2 weeks, there'll be 2 official play sessions before we come back.
Okay.
So that'll be fun.
So wait. So we have what do we have? We are going to be back in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're back in 2 weeks, and then it'll be a
3 weeks.
3 weeks, because we're again the second and fourth Sunday every month,
Perfect.
except I guess
Okay.
in December, where, you know, holidays and all of that stuff happens, and, you know, maybe we'll take a week off. That's fine.
Right.
It happens. Yeah, so that's kind of what's going on. I would say at this point, Harold has definitely earned at least 1 CP. You know, that investigation stuff was definitely very, very worthwhile. I don't have this open in Illustrator right now, so I'll have to update it there if I want to do it on the fly. But
Okay, maybe we can discuss that next time. We'll start with that.
yeah, for
Allocate
sure.
that CP, or decide maybe just to hold on to it, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yep. Well, I guess Zero's internet is officially dead, so this would probably be the good time to wrap up. Thank you all very much for coming. Everybody in chat, thank you for coming. Everybody watching this later, thank you for giving it a show here. We really appreciate it. We're looking forward to coming back with more in 2 weeks. And hopefully technology won't be failing us as much as it did today, because that we we had a lot of
Several tech fails.
yeah, zeros internet in approximately Alaska just kind of went to crap, and then Paul's new you have a new machine, right?
Yeah, it's a new case and a new graphics card and a new something else, and then we just moved the rest of the stuff from the old to the new. But yeah, enough of a new setup that Skype had lost its settings.
Gotcha.
What
So I
did
was
you get the? What did you get the new graphics card to play?
It's a
Why, I'm asking. Why did you get a new graphics card? That's what I'm asking.
well, I had last year at some point I got a 760
Mhm.
Ti, I think. So because prices have come way down and we were going to go ahead and upgrade other components, we went ahead and got a 1070. So
There you
that's
go.
a fairly major upgrade for a couple $100.
Yeah.
So it was a good deal. And he said, yeah, what the hell? Don't get a 1080. They're too expensive yet for what you get. But he said you should see some significant, though perhaps subtle, differences between a 760 and a 1070. And yeah, it's subtle.
Good.
Yeah.
The TI, the 760 Ti Snipe is a great card, works great. I let him have it, and he said he tends to just give them to folks who need them because he does a lot of IT stuff for a lot of people, some groups,
Gotcha.
some schools. So that's somebody will hopefully help somebody else. But when you can get a 1070 for as cheap as they are now, that's a pretty good deal.
Good.
Yeah.
Okie doke.
Cool. Well, yeah, like I said, 2 weeks. Be there. We'll be playing more, continuing this, and should be a pretty interesting one. Till
Yeah.
then, we'll see y'all later.
Thanks, everyone.
Whoops, wrong button. There we go.